Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're unpacking Brian Tracy's absolute game changer of a time management methodology. If you're looking to finally maximize your ROI on time, conquer information overload, and actually get ahead of that endless to-do list, well, you are in exactly the right place. Okay, let's just jump right into a massive shared pain point. We see this all the time with bankers, academics, university students. You know the drill. Despite being incredibly analytical, driven, and obviously intelligent, you're probably constantly drowning in high-pressure deliverables, whether it's complex financial models, rigorous dissertations, or exhaustive research papers. You've got the skills, so why does time always seem to run out? So here's our roadmap for the explainer today. We'll be covering 1. The procrastination epidemic, 2. Clarity and advanced planning, 3. Prioritizing with 80/20 and ABCDE, 4. Key areas in creative procrastination, and 5. Cultivating a sense of urgency. We're pulling our structured insights directly from this source material, specifically looking at the globally recognized framework found in the Bengali edition of Eat That Frog. Now, the principles inside here are universal, and they provide a truly proven framework for overcoming the psychological hurdles of modern, high-stakes work. All right, Section 1, the procrastination epidemic. Let's start by validating the reality we're all living in. If you feel overwhelmed right now, honestly, it's not a personal failing. Human history has literally never offered so many complex tasks, data points, and options all at once. This constant barrage of info naturally causes even top-tier professionals to just freeze up. But there's this famously vivid and slightly gross saying that perfectly captures the core metaphor to fix this. If the first thing you do each morning is to eat a live frog, you can go through the day with the satisfaction of knowing that that is probably the worst thing that is going to happen to you all day long. It's completely unforgettable, right? So, what actually is your frog? In your world, we're not talking about a minor administrative email or, tidying up your desk. Your frog is that daunting quarterly financial report. It's the highly critical peer review you need to write, or that massive data analysis you've been putting off for a week. It is the single task that has the absolute highest positive impact on your career or studies right now. Now, why does tackling the ugly stuff first actually work? The source material highlights a fascinating psychological reality. It's literally brain chemistry. Successfully finishing that massive frog task triggers a really powerful endorphin release in your brain. It instantly boosts your confidence, gives you this huge surge of creative energy, and just sets a winning tone for the rest of your day. You essentially become addicted to success. Moving on to Section 2, Clarity and Advanced Planning. Because you can't hit a target you can't clearly see. To eat your frog, we first need crystal clear clarity on what that frog actually is. The crucial point here is getting it out of your head and onto paper. The source notes a pretty staggering statistic. A mere 3% of adults explicitly write down their goals. But get this, that 3% achieves vastly more than the other 97% combined. Writing it down makes the abstract totally tangible. It gives you a real physical target. And this brings us to the ultimate return on investment for your time, the 10-90 rule. It basically dictates that spending just 10% of your time planning and organizing your tasks before you even begin will save you 90% of your time in execution. Just think about it. A few minutes mapping out your dissertation structure tonight saves you hours of agonizingly staring at a blank screen tomorrow. All right, Section 3, Prioritize. 80/20 and ABCDE. Let's see how this builds into ruthlessly organizing our lists. Because let's face it, not all tasks are created equal, and treating them like they are is a fast track to burnout. You're probably familiar with the 80/20 Pareto principle. It's an absolute anchor for analytical minds. Simply put, 20% of your activities will account for 80% of your high-value results. If you have 10 items on your to-do list, 2 of those items are going to be worth more than the other 8 combined. Your entire job is to isolate those 2. To execute this isolation every single day, the source provides the ABCD method. It's a rapid-fire categorization system. You basically assign a letter to every task on your list. A tasks, those are your frogs. High stakes, serious consequences if you fail. B tasks are things you really should do, but the fallout is mild. C tasks are nice to do, like checking social media or chatting. D tasks can be delegated. And E tasks, you've got to eliminate those entirely to protect your sanity and your bandwidth. But here is where the rubber really meets the road. The strict discipline required here is simple, but it is tough. You cannot allow yourself the comfortable, warm illusion of busy work.
You cannot start organizing your inbox, which is a classic B or C task, while your ugliest A task frog is just staring at you from across the desk.
Number 4, key areas and creative procrastination. Since you're a high performer, you are inevitably going to face endless demands on your time. So let's explore how to identify your unique value and strategically delay everything else. To do this, ask yourself these 3 core questions derived directly from the source. The goal here is to pinpoint your key result areas. Basically, what is the exact intersection where your specific expertise, your unique brain power, yields the absolute maximum return on investment? Once you figure that out, that is where you need to live. And this understanding leads to my absolute favorite concept here, creative procrastination. Now, most of us are pretty familiar with destructive procrastination, right? Avoiding the hard stuff out of fear or, let's be honest, laziness. But creative procrastination is a strategic choice. It means intentionally, deliberately choosing to ignore low-value, trivial tasks so you can deploy 100% of your mental focus on those heavy-hitting, career-defining deliverables. Which brings us to our final section. Number 5, cultivate a sense of urgency. How do we transition from perfectly prioritizing on paper to actually executing with unstoppable daily momentum? Well, before you strike, the source emphasizes the massive power of preparation. You must meticulously set your stage, clear your workspace, gather every single piece of data, every report, every resource you're going to need. By preparing thoroughly, you ensure that once you sit down to eat that frog, there are 0 physical or logistical distractions to break your focus. And when you combine that deep preparation with a relentless sense of urgency to knock out your A tasks, something pretty magical happens. You actually propel yourself into a highly productive psychological state called flow. In this state, high performance becomes almost effortless. Your mind locks in, time distorts, and you produce your absolute best work. We've covered the framework, from isolating the vital few to ruthlessly eliminating the trivial many. So I want to leave you with this provocative challenge. Look at your schedule right now. Identify your absolute biggest, ugliest frog, clear your desk, shut off your notifications, and go eat it. Thanks so much for joining this explainer, and we will see you in the next one.